Awesome, guys. So, hi, good night. I know some people are not able to join. That's why I'll be sharing the recording with them for later on as well. I'm glad you guys could be here tonight as well. This is the first of many sessions that we're going to have. Thank you all again for joining the community. Now, essentially, when we started this community, it was meant to actually help persons who are now starting off in their career, persons who are already professionals in their career and they're looking to find a new job, or just persons general who want to learn a new skill or trying to develop themselves or build their small business as well. So I know it's like an all-in-one type of group, and I know there's a lot of things that are happening currently. So before we even begin with this presentation today with Mrs. Hari Prasad, right? I just wanted to talk and express my gratitude of growing to almost 500 members in under a week, which is pretty cool to say the least. And I want to thank each and every one of you who have shared books, who have shared courses, who have shared job vacancies as well, right? Now, the thing about growing to the next level in terms of what we're doing currently is like panels such as this, what's happening today. I want to have panels in terms of having HR managers come on board to give you guys advice, to give you guys the insight of, after you actually get an interview, what's the next procedure there, how to handle a job interview properly, how to establish your resume a little better to get seen and get noticed out there. Because at the end of the day, you're selling yourself. So that's that sales skills you're going to need later on in life as well and present day as well too. All right. Now this group was established with Krista Nadlal and myself, right? Shivam Tilak Singh. So we didn't realize it was going to be this big, honestly. So I'm really glad for that. Moving forward, I did talk about remote jobs before, so I'm currently on LinkedIn talking to a few different companies that hire persons within the Caribbean. Now, this is for jobs like more likely help desk, more technical skills in terms of that. So I'm trying to see what we could actually provide to them in terms of resumes, as well as what we could actually do to have like a sit down call with a few persons who are actually interested in this. Now, this would actually be a back and forth conversation happening since last week till now, and I'm not sure how when exactly we're gonna have that meeting. Right? It may be during the middle of the month. Again, I would like to say this is a legitimate company. I'll provide more information as we go along. Right? So it's two companies, one in New York and one in Canada. Yeah, people are just joining a little late here, so that's no problems. Apart from that, I want to have a few HR managers, both public and private, who work in different industries to actually come on board and probably do a little panel with you guys as well in the future. So I'm just waiting on that as well. So today's session is with Ms. Kalisha Hari Prasad. Let me just pin her to the screen here and unpin myself. Awesome. Uh, awesome. So, Ms. Kalisha Hari Prasad, can you tell us about yourself and what you're going to be presenting us today with?
Hi, good night, everyone. So, my name is Kalisha, and I am the creator of the brand Calzone. Thank you, Shivam and Ms. Nanan, for this group and for having me here tonight. I understand this session is the first of many for the Hello Trinidad community. I'm so happy and so proud to be a part of it. Shivam has always been an advocate for entrepreneurs throughout the country, and I think he's doing an amazing job in terms of providing opportunities, providing education. So I am very excited to see how well this group performs and to see the amazing things that Shivam and the Hello Trinidad community continues to do. So, before we get started, I just wanted to say the Branding Brilliance program that we're going to do tonight. I'm going to try not to be too long, but before we go anywhere, before we send out a resume, before we go to a job interview, or even as an entrepreneur, before we meet with clients or anything like that, we have to brand ourselves. Personal branding is essential. Whether you're an entrepreneur or an employee, it is important to have that identity in yourself, who you are, what you represent, and that will um, help you attract the opportunities that you desire. So you will know how to carry about yourself in an interview. What is your brand? What does your brand represent? It will help you to look for jobs that are in alignment with your brand beliefs. Branding also helps you as an employee to represent yourself and then eventually a company in a manner that you feel respected and you respect your employer as well. As an entrepreneur, your brand is important because I'm of the firm belief that you are your brand. So when persons see you, they see a brand, be it personally or again as an employee. So thank you so much for having me to facilitate this session on branding brilliance. My name is Kalisha Hariprasad. I've worked in corporate communications for the past 5 years. I've worked in sales and marketing for about 10 years. Um, I work with Microsoft partners, I work with entrepreneurs, I work with large global scale companies. I've, I've had experience in multiple industries, locally, regionally, and internationally. And branding has always been something of importance to me. So I feel humbled to share my knowledge with you here this evening. So, Shivam, if you agree, we can get started.
Yeah, perfect. So I'm gonna pin your main screen to the screen here and unpin you, right? Nice.
Okay, great.
Awesome, we can begin.
So thank you all for coming out on a Saturday night. I know a lot of persons may have had other plans. It's crunch time. So thank you for being here. So a little bit about what we will be touching on today is understanding your personal brand, understanding your personal brand strategy, creating your personal brand, promoting your personal brand, and then maintaining your personal brand. I will be taking questions throughout the session and maybe asking persons to identify whether they represent a brand, a company, or themselves. And we can share some insights. So when we talk about personal branding, we have to understand that personal branding involves gaining clarity on what your personal brand is, why it is important, and how it benefits you as an entrepreneur or an employee. So we define personal branding as a practice of marketing yourself as a brand by identifying and communicating your unique value proposition to your target audience. Why is this important? Because it is essential for entrepreneurs and employees because it helps them to stand out in a crowded marketplace, establish your expertise and credibility, and build a strong reputation. The benefits of a strong personal brand can lead to increased opportunities for career advancement, new business partnerships, and improved networking. So, as an employee, you may be thinking, why is this relevant to me or how is this of value to me? Your resume is what will help you stand out as your brand. Think of you're going for a job interview or you're applying for a job. Your resume is the only thing that this employer has that represents who you are and why you are qualified for this job. What makes you stand out in this crowded marketplace? What helps them to identify you as a reliable or trusted expert in this field? Here is the practice essentially of identifying who you are and communicating your unique value proposition. And as we get on to the program, you will see how to create your own unique value proposition for yourself and your brand. Um, One of the major benefits I would say of having a strong personal brand is increased opportunities. So your resume, I have seen so many resumes locally in terms of jobs across the board. And one thing that always stands out to me is a strong resume. And when I see a strong resume, I think of this person as a strong brand who can represent themselves in a strong manner, and then that person will effectively carry my brand in a strong way as well. So the benefits of having a well done resume um, helps you to stand out in the crowd. And I know Shivam is looking at a lot of remote work, and these international companies get tons of resumes on a daily basis. It is important for your resume not only to be prominent, not only to include keywords or strong attributes, but also to stand out in a crowd of hundreds, sometimes thousands of applications. So, as I said before, you are your brand. Your personal brand is important because it helps you to establish trust and credibility within your target audience. You have to identify who your target audience is. As an entrepreneur, your target audience is essentially the people that you want to sell to, partner with, or the people that you want to collaborate on future products or future endeavors with. As an employee, your target audience is your future or current employer, and you want to brand yourself. A strong personal brand can differentiate you from your competition, making you more attractive to potential customers, clients, and employers. And your personal brand can also help you to achieve your career or business goals by increasing your visibility and influence in your industry. This also stands firm in the moment of new jobs that are emerging. A lot of persons are utilizing social media and digital tools to market themselves and make themselves more employable. You see the emergence of creators and influencers coming out now. These are jobs that did not exist 15 years ago. So, how do you brand yourself as an influencer? Some may have a website, some may have a strong social media presence, some may just have a resume. Whatever it is that you decide is best for you and your brand, you have to make sure that it represents who you are and your values. You are your brand. So always try to remember that statement. So the benefits of a personal brand helps you create your credibility and trust, differentiates you from your competition, increases your visibility and your influence, and leads to increased career opportunities and business success. Next, we go on to your personal brand strategy. And as I said before, we're going to talk about your unique proposition, your brand messaging, and your brand attributes. Your unique proposition is important because it helps you to develop a unique value proposition that sets you apart from your competition and provides value to your target audience. This helps you create a brand messaging to effectively communicate your value proposition to your target audience. So this may be like your personal mission statement, why or why you do what you do, how you do what you do, and who you are. Once you can answer that who you are question with no ambiguity, that is, I would say that is important in your unique proposition because you are your brand. Only you can be able to identify and define yourself. Your brand attributes. Identify the key attributes that define your personal brand. What are your personality traits, your skills, your values? What are the things that make you so special in the industry? What makes you stand out from a list of candidates? So, as an entrepreneur, what makes your brand stand out in a crowded room of very similar companies? Why should a customer or an employer choose your brand? What is your strategy? So, I want to take some time to go through a unique value proposition example. As I said, it is important to focus on what sets you apart. So I did three examples. One for an entrepreneur who runs a fashion brand, a graphic designer, and a marketing professionals. And I want to ask, is there anybody in this session who matches any three of these examples? Anybody with a fashion brand, any graphic designers, or any marketing professionals in this session? You all could unmute your mics or um, indicate in the chat. Or even if you don't belong to any three of these, tell me which industry you belong to. Define your brand for me so that together we can come up with some unique proposition examples. Shivam, I know this is something that we worked on together as well, having a unique proposition for your brand because you are global, regional, and local. So you want to be able to define yourself and your brand.
Yeah, that's correct. And that's the way
So
that
I
I.
do a little
Yeah.
bit of
Yeah, Rina?
Hi, sorry.
so I do some graphic arts for my company, and I do like digital. I do social media, but I also do like email marketing and stuff for my company.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So I guess example number two and example number three would fit into your interests. So three unique value propositions that I have here. So as a freelance graphic designer, I offer personalized attention and strategic design solutions that cater to each client's unique needs. My goal is to create memorable and impactful visuals that reflect your brand's personality and resonate with your target audience. If you notice, in proposition examples, what makes these things stand out is the why. Why are you so set above the rest? Why are you different? Because there are tons of graphic artists out there, Aruna. So if you had to define yourself or create a unique proposition for yourself as a graphic artist, as a marketing professional looking to expand and grow, what would you say sets you apart in today's landscape?
Oh my God, that's a good question. I think I think because I'm an artist, that really sets me apart. So it's not only so one the graphic artists usually use Photoshop and stuff, but because I'm an artist first, that's I look at it from that perspective. But also is learning to communicate effectively using obviously yeah graphics, right? So I think that's the perspective I use because every company, because I did this for another company as well, which is a medical company, which is completely different
Yeah,
compared to the company I currently have now. So the medical company I would do more, it would be more people centered, but the company I do now is a wholesaler, so we don't really do my, we don't, it's a different kind of, so you have to cater for basically the market that you're talking about, basically.
right.
Yeah.
So just as you have, as an artist, you have to cater to the landscape that you are involved in. How do you, is that something that you include in your strategy? Do you include that you're an artist? Do you include that you are an artist first and designer second, or is that something that they learn throughout the process?
Honestly, I don't really. No, I don't really use it as something that is true. I don't really use it as because you see, I'm doing this for a company,
Mm-hmm.
but I do have like my own blog and stuff, so that's separate.
Right,
So yeah,
right.
but
So
when I do it for the company, I don't really put that because remember I'm working for somebody, so
yeah,
it's a different kind of thing when you actually when I have to set myself apart as a freelancer as a different kind of thing.
okay, that's great. Thanks for sharing, Aruna. Anybody else would like to give an example of their industry and how they think they can create a unique proposition for their brand? Anybody who works in fashion, who runs a fashion company or retail fashionable brands?
You guys don't need to be scared.
Right.
I think we could probably just find out what these persons actually do, and we could probably
Yep.
orient it to what they. So if somebody wants
Yep.
to,
I agree. All right. Next, we have a personal brand message. So, just as you would have had a unique proposition, you would have a personal brand message, something that sets you apart even further. Something. So, when you craft the brand message, it's important to consider your unique value proposition. So, in Aruna's case, or maybe in one of the examples before us, we would have seen that. Let's go to, yeah, as a freelance graphic designer, personalization and strategic design solutions. So when you're creating your personal brand message, you want to take that same approach to creating your brand message because that is what sets you apart. That is your I am statement. So that's your affirmation. Your personal brand message should always be your affirmation for your brand, your business, yourself. So, as a freelance graphic designer, I am a creative problem solver and graphic designer specializing in branding and visual identity. With over 5 years of experience, I help businesses stand out and make a lasting impression through strategic design solutions. So, if you work in marketing, I am data driven. I am passionate about helping business grow. So I see a lot of influencers use this as their affirmation. I am passionate about helping businesses grow and achieve their goals. How are you going to do that? How are you focusing on growing someone else's business? How are you implementing these strategies? And how are you developing customized approaches to someone else's brand while maintaining your own brand message? These are important factors to consider when creating your own personal brand message. Right? Personal brand attributes. So this is another important factor into your personal branding strategy. When identifying your brand attributes, think about your unique strengths, your values, your characteristics, that help you stand out in the industry. For Aruna, one of her brand attributes would be the attention to detail that she has as an artist first and designer second. This will help her to create customized type of designs or visuals that you may not be able to create on a PC. You may not be able to create using Photoshop or any of those other tools because she has a personal touch attached to it. So for a fashionable brand, you may want to say something like you're passionate about sustainability and ethical fashion. You want to continue making a positive impact on the planet and its people because we know fast fashion is so in nowadays that we tend to forget the impact that it has on the environment in the long run. For a freelance graphic designer, your personal attributes may be that you're creative and artistic with an eye for detail, you're collaborative and you're communicative with your clients because that is very important. If you can't communicate with your clients, then your clients don't know how to tell you what they want, and then that doesn't translate into the artwork. So you want to manage that communication there too. For a marketing professional, again, strategic, forward thinking, and planning and executing a marketing campaign is very important. Anybody can say that they can grow your social media following by posting or just taking their phone and sharing stories, sharing posts, and all that. But effectively, how is that gaining you customers? So, as a marketing professional, you want to say, how are you creating strategic campaigns to grow your audience, increase the revenue of um, the brand that you're presenting and managing? Because growth of followers is important, but a business always cares about the revenue in the long run. So how are you translating those leads then to sales? Um, so think about what makes you stand out as a person, as a professional, and how can you communicate that in your resume? How can that be communicated in your social media platform on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, whatever preferred social media presence that you have? How do you reflect your brand attributes? Next. So now that we have our brand strategy down, let's go on to creating our personal brand. So as I said numerous times, you are your brand and people should see your brand when they see you. Before I go to the next slide, I want to ask you all, who do you think, name a brand that comes to mind or a personal brand, an entrepreneur that you think is a great representation of their brand, who they are. When you see them, you see their brand.
I would say Lisa Mutu. We can see her brand and everything that she represents.
I agree. She's a wonderful influencer, and I think she is one of the longest influencers that we have in Trinidad and Tobago. She's a perfect representation of who she is in her business, not straight from her ethics and her values, and that is always communicated for a client, be it for herself. You always see her values represented in her content. So that's a great example of a personal brand. Anybody else?
I Abraham.
Yeah, Stephanie is also a great indication of someone who utilizes her brand um, as a marketable influencer. She gained her popularity and she used that her personality then to kind of spread her wings, and that is something that influencers now are losing sight of. They gain the followers, they gain the popularity, and then they lose track of their personality as they move forward. Anybody else? Any more examples before we move on?
For local example, I would say we have persons like Jared West Mitchell and
Yeah,
Karen Booth.
Karen.
Jared,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on. And Jared is the example that I use because um, I love Jared so much. much. I love his brand. I love what he represents. He is the indication of a strong and powerful country. He is, when I see the color
Jared,
yellow, I think
anytime I think he's the
you broke up there a little bit, Michael. Not sure if it's him or me, but Jared Bass Mitchell, for those of you who don't know, he is a LinkedIn expert. He's a coach, he's a sales coach. He is phenomenal on LinkedIn and Instagram. He helps persons craft their LinkedIn profiles for sales strategies. He helps you create sales strategies that are effective in not only building trust but gaining sales, and that is very, very important. He represents the color yellow so well. Apart from yellow being a happy color, anytime I see yellow now, I think sales. I think um, content have to be done. I think of Jared saying video content. I think of him saying sales. So Jared is a perfect representation of a personal brand and defining who you are in your personal branding. He is set aside from the rest of competition that I would say locally and regionally in his brand. So how can we create our own personal branding strategy? What is our brand story? What are we going to use to determine what makes us unique and what inspires us to pursue our current path? Brand identity. How are you developing a consistent visual identity that reflects your personal brand attributes and your values? How are you developing a consistent visual identity that reflects your personal brand attributes and values? So we go back to Jared, and his brand story is always creating cells, his brand identity. He's consistent with the color yellow, so that's his visual identity. It reflects his personal brand attributes. And what are the visuals that you think you can use as an entrepreneur that reflects that? As an employee or as someone seeking a job, what story are you telling with your resume about what is inspiring you to pursue your path? Especially as jobs are transforming, you no longer hear of, say, sales associates or customer service representatives. You have much more modified descriptions now to match. So if your resume is modified, it isn't being modified to tell that story, and you aren't including what is unique about you, you're not setting aside yourself from the competition, and the competition is always a step ahead. So, what are you using to identify and reflect your personal brand attributes? How are you developing something that always represents who you are? And your LinkedIn profile is a great example of defining your personal professional brand, having a professional headshot, having consistent visuals. I'm not seeing it. Pinky Thomas, the makeup artist, she has been consistently posting. She has been consistent in her techniques, her posting. She's been very great in her field of representing. If I'm not mistaken, I think she now has her actual own brand which she represents and sells so well. So those are all really great examples. So how can you that now as an employee and put that on your resume? And as an entrepreneur, how can you tell a story, build an identity and a toolkit from that? As an entrepreneur, persons tend to think that their brand toolkit is just the logo. That's all they're gonna run with on their social media, just posting their logo, and people will automatically know what it is. But if you have a great logo, but you don't have a way that sells your logo, how are you attracting the right clients? So, unfortunately, nobody has a logo, and that is just the example that we used for tonight of building a brand story. So we used Sarah, a designer who launched eFash, a sustainable fashion brand that combines style with sustainability. And her brand story is that she uses only eco-friendly production methods, and her products are also at affordable prices, making sustainable fashion accessible to all. So, in using the sustainability what do you think are colors that would associate with sustainability? And how do you think Sarah can sell her brand as a fashion icon? Would you use black? Would you use Okay, yeah, green. Green is a great color for sustainability. Brown. Along those lines, right? So that's what we use to create a brand identity for Sarah and Ifash. We use a lot of earthy tones to represent who she is. You can tell that this is sustainable fashion, and it is something that accurately represents what her brand does. A brand toolkit is just the visuals, the colors, the logos, any other elements that you would use in your branding as an entrepreneur. Um, as an employee, your resume may also want to be identifiable by your brand colors. Persons in marketing tend to have these very uplifting resumes with these colors, these photos, graphs, anything like that. So look at the jobs that you're applying for and how can you create a brand toolkit to reflect who you are and your personal brand strategy. By creating a strong personal brand, you differentiate yourself from your competition, establish your expertise and your credibility, and increase your marketability as an entrepreneur or an employee. Identifying your personal brand attributes. Identifying your personal brand attributes involves gaining clarity on your strengths, your values, and the unique characteristics that help you stand out from others. So, in other words, your personal brand strategy is you creating a SWOT analysis of yourself or your brand, and then taking all of those strong elements and putting it into one place as your mission statement. How many times do we actually go deep and take a SWOT analysis and say, okay, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, these are the opportunities available to me, these are the threats, and how can I combat that? How can I create a personal brand strategy that effectively communicates who I am and help me gain credibility within my target audience? So I think next time, um, before you do your resume, that is something that you can look at, creating a SWOT analysis before you send out your next resume. That may help you identify some keywords, some key elements, your strengths, your weaknesses, and always make sure that those are strong keywords that stand out. It is also important to look at the jobs that you're applying for. Look at what they're ideally asking for within the description or within the requirements, and you want to pinpoint, hey, I could do this. How can I effectively communicate that within my resume for this job that I can effectively create what they are asking me to create, and that helps you as well in long run as an employee. And next, we're going to talk about promoting your personal brand, because it's one thing to have your personal brand strategy, you have your story. Um, I saw someone had their hand raised. I don't see who, but
Yeah, Deepak.
Hi, good night.
hi, good night.
One thing I wanted to ask, by chance, do you have any practices that you recommend persons doing? Because some persons might be able to identify what a company is asking for, but let's say personal strengths and attributes that you may be able to contribute to something, a person
Yeah.
might have difficulty finding ways to express or find those strengths they might have to offer a company. Do you have any advice for people like that?
You mean translating exactly what you can do to what the company is requesting of you? So you know you can do it based on what the requirement is asking you, but you're having trouble translating that onto your resume itself.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, so what you can do in an example like that is look at what the company is asking for you. For example, give me the line of work that you do, Deepak.
Well, personally, I am into photo editing and graphic design.
Mm-hmm.
That's my main thing at the moment, and also vaguely into the field of IT. No, not really a specific area. So,
Yeah. Okay, so in the field of IT or in the field of graphic design, these are fields that are always emerging. So These are things that always evolving. So you may have a company saying that they require you to be able to utilize certain different types of software or be able to produce a certain type of content that you can produce, but you're not sure how to say that you can produce it. And in a sense like that, you would list that as a key attribute. Like if you're not skilled in it, for example, if they're asking you for Photoshop, I think it is, if you're not skills and you don't have Photoshop skills, but you can do what they're telling you to do, it is important to note that within your key objectives that I'm able to produce animations, videos, images, um, ability to create a visual identity strategy, ability to create marketing campaigns, all those things. But use the keywords that I identified. And how you know keywords is analyzing. They usually at the very first few lines within the job description. So it's like the verb. What is it that they're asking you to do? Analyze, um, strategize. When you look at the job description and you see the roles and requirements, a lot of time the requirements will ask you for ability to perform XYZ. That's what you want to look at, the ability to perform that, and then be able to translate that into your resume under the things that you can do under your core skills. So you have experience, education, but there's also a separate part that you can include for key skills, and you can list out those key skills in that area, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if I answered your question in the way that you were looking. Sorry, I think
Yes, you did. Sorry about that. I think the meeting just froze for me a little bit. Sorry about that.
no problem at all. I think it flows here too. All right. So promoting your personal brand, how you promote your resume, you improve your resume to include those keywords. You include the words of so I work in communications. So a keyword for me would be a PR strategy, a communications plan, implementing communication strategies that effectively gained certain attention or those kinds of things. Social media, as a social media manager, you may want to include also your ability to grow brands within a certain industry to from XYZ followers, from 8 followers to 8,000 followers over a 6 month period, utilizing the following strategies: video content, social media storytelling, blogs, implementation and development of a website, and all that. How do you promote all those things as a personal brand? You reflect that on your resume. You reflect that on your social media, especially like on your LinkedIn profile, where as an employee you are going to be viewed by employers. You want to reflect the things that you've accomplished, the things that you have done, be it for yourself as a freelancer or through a company. Highlight your projects, highlight the things that you have done and you are working on, and marketing. Develop a marketing plan that effectively promotes yourself and your brand. So if you're an entrepreneur, you want to have a marketing plan for say 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year that effectively promotes how you're going to gain 100 followers. What are the strategies you're going to do? Are you going to use video content on your stories every day? Are you going to show behind the scenes? Are you going to show your customers? How are you promoting your brand? Are you showing your products as an employee? How, or a job seeker? How are you marketing yourself? Develop a marketing plan. I'm going to effectively create 3 different resumes: one for the job function of IT, one for graphic design, one for marketing or freelance. And this is how I'm going to market myself. I'm going to go job hunting on LinkedIn 3 days for the week. I'm going to reach out to um, job jobs in my area every week. I'm going to mail out 10 resumes every week and follow up with these companies. So a marketing plan that effectively promotes you and your brand is very important in promoting yourself and essentially your brand.
See, Michael had his hand
So
up.
develop a oh sorry, I'm not seeing when anybody has their hands up, but you can unmute and ask a question.
All right. So, thank you, Kalisha. I think you answered the question already, but my question was, just in general, right? Because I'm guessing everyone here is coming from different backgrounds and would be interested in different careers, right? As far as the application part goes, right? Would you say that it is mandatory to always edit your resume to match the keywords that are in the job description? And then secondly, would it be wise to do a skills based resume versus a regular resume?
That's a great question, and I get that question a lot. I'm not in HR, but I am part of the recruitment for several brands. And one thing that I notice a lot of resumes are very generic, and the ones that stand out is the one that accurately depicts what it is the job requirements are looking for. I'm not saying that it's mandatory to keep editing your resume, but in today's landscape, you're not going to get two job two job titles asking you for the same thing. So you may have, for example, you're looking for a job within the IT landscape, let's say, um, as an IT technician. One company may require a certain skill set, and company B may require a certain skill set. They're the same thing, but the descriptions differ a little bit. You want to match, you want to tell the company, hey, I do my research on Alia, I could do what Alia asking me to do, and I could translate that on my resume. Else they're just going to look at your resume and say, okay, just another generic resume. If you don't want to put it within your resume, I think a defined cover letter that speaks to the job that you're applying to is always very important. So while it's not mandatory and you could go ahead and send out generic resumes and cover letters, I think based on experience from myself and persons that I've worked with in creating personal brand strategies, it always works best when you tell the company that I've done my research on you. I know that you're looking for this and I can do this. These are my skills. I'm not sure if you gained any clarity from that.
Yes,
What was,
thank you. That answers
what
my
was the
question.
second
Thank you
question,
very
if you
much.
don't mind?
Oh, the second question was using skills based CVs versus a resume. If, for instance, there might be like in terms of like a gap in experience, maybe the amount of years of experience,
Mm-hmm.
or having a specific certification or qualification, where so you write out
Yeah.
the skill, and this is how you were able to execute it, even if you don't have like a certification for that, like formal training.
Um, that's a great question, and in situations that always include that you can't do it, it might sound a little biased here, but there are a lot of persons who can perform job functions without a degree, and yet employers ask for degrees. Even when you're applying internationally, they ask for these educational requirements, and you could do the job, but you just to have the tangible certificate to show what you can do in instances like that is make sure that it is reflected in your resume and your key skills. Shivam, you may have some more insight on this, but in Trinidad, I haven't come across yet any employers that digitally scan your resumes for keywords that move you along the line. The APS, I think it is, the keywords
Yeah, it's more
on
international
your
companies do
resume.
that.
Yeah. So especially when you're applying for remote jobs, um, you want to make sure that those keywords are identified because you don't have someone like a human on the end of the screen scanning through hundreds of resumes. It is a digital system that scans the resumes, and the minimum I think is 40 or 60% of the words um, that gets you to the second leg of the process, which includes a human reviewing your resume. I'm not sure what the percentage is, so quote me on that. Shivram may have more information on the exact analytics.
Also, I see
And
Sunny
some
has a question too.
mm,
Yeah. Sunny
the
Sam.
question concerning your put all your information. Um, no, you don't. If we in 2023, you don't need to put in all the work experience that you did um 15, 20 years ago. Work experience should always match for the company or the job that you're applying for. If you're applying for a job in IT, but you know you spent a good bit of time in graphic design, don't include that. Include only the IT stuff because that is what's relevant to the company you're applying for. Because then they're gonna see that you have marketing on your resume as an IT technician, and guess what they're going to do? Hire you in IT and then tell you help out the marketing department. So only include what it is you're applying for. If you're applying for a role in IT, utilize only your IT skills. Gaps in your resume, utilize that as periods of time where you were learning or freelancing. Yeah, your CV is actually a resume is a shorter summary doc. Yeah, keep your resume between 1 and 2 pages. I would say max. Key skills, your education, your experience, your objective. You don't need to put your address and all that. If you need to link your LinkedIn profile, if it is that you have one, a CV should be very much more detailed in terms of you explaining why it is that you are qualified for this role, telling the employer this is what I see that you are looking for, and this is my skills and how they match up, and how we can marry my skills with what you need and have a great working relationship. So your resume is no longer just a static document. So one person say they have a resume but they ain't updated in like 2 to 3 years. It's always a shock to me because your resume is a working document. It should always be something that is updated, always be something that you are working on and adding to. Any more questions? Your cover letter is ideally why your story of why you should be hired for the job. So it's your letter to the hiring manager, telling them, "Hi, my name is Deepak Singh." You're listing out your key skills. You're telling them, "I've observed based on the job requirements. This is what you're looking for. I would like to apply for the job. These are my skills," and kind of explain. This is the pre-interview process. So before they meet your resume and your CV, your cover letter is your how to put it, your foot inside to the company. So this is what they're going to read about you. Make it. You don't have to make it like a letter. There are lots of fancy ways now that you can visually make it appealing. Your resume only includes your key skills, work experience, job, and at least three key elements of what you performed in the job and your educational background. And of course, if they ask for references, you always put that it can be listed, but don't go put in anybody's name and contact information without um, them asking for it first. So keep it very short and detailed resume, 1 to 2 pages. CV again, detailed but limited to 1 to 2 pages. Nobody is going to review 5 and 6 pages of work experience and you telling them how much you really love the company and want to work for them. Include the key elements, the important data. Mm, Naomi has a question. What advice to a student who's almost completed their degree? You know that some students complete online courses. Yes, yeah, you can have a section for skills that you've gained over the period of time. Summarize them. A lot of persons utilize Udemy, Coursera, even Allison courses, and you can include that because it shows that you are very proactive in keeping your skills updated. So definitely include that onto your resume. What information in my resume and CV should I put to stand out from others to catch the eye of HR? So I can't speak from an HR perspective, but I would always say do your research. Research what the job is asking of you. Don't just see, oh, they have an opening, I want to apply, let me go send out my resume, and your resume have skills that these people don't need, or your resume that you want to send out doesn't speak to the job title that they want you to fulfill, and then they just bypass the resume. Always look at um, the vacancy post, always look at the ads, see what they're asking for, how can you translate that into your resume for this company and your cover letter. Yeah. Any more questions?
Yes, I have one more question.
Sure.
If it's someone that's younger, that they might not necessarily have the skills, the experience required for the job, one, or two, it may not necessarily be there as yet to have the certifications required. Is there a way for them to still be able to expectation to hope for a job that you could probably get, even if you're this is just for like younger people, maybe just coming out of school or something. So
Yeah.
yeah, is there a way that,
Situations
a
like
strategy
that.
they could use?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in situations like that, you want to look at entry level jobs, but that don't mean that you have an entry level resume. You want to include things that um, made you stand out in school. What type of projects did you work on? What type of skills did you gain as a student? What do you hope to achieve while working in this job? So someone fresh out of school at maybe the CSEC A level may have a resume that, okay, so they're a student, they haven't yet completed any of those advanced courses, but they may have gained entrepreneurial skills from a big sale in school, so they're good with money. They did POA and POB, so they're good with accounting, and they're looking for an entry level position that helps them to identify those strengths, helps them to look at those skills in the workplace and how it can be applied from their education into the real world. Having a basic resume and a cover letter that translates that might help them get ahead. In IT, digital marketing, it's a lot easier where they can say that um, as a Gen X person, they're able to grow social media following from 0 to 100 in a matter of weeks, months, and what are the strategies that they recommend. So anybody looking for a job in the entry level, for an entry level, it's always easier to start with basics, your education, indicate that you're looking to learn and grow, and then move on from there. You wouldn't go and apply for a job that you definitely know you need the skills to apply for. You wouldn't go and, okay, well, I don't have a degree and I'll come out of school, but yes, I can do this. May not, you may get through or not, but start with something that you know entry level. If you come from a multi-skill background, again, try to apply it to what the vacancy is asking of you, because they're not interested in anything else other than what they're asking for at this point. You need to match it back to what they're looking for. If you're accounts and you have a marketing background and they're asking for marketing, same thing. You don't want to fill up your resume either with a bunch of, I wouldn't say unnecessary stuff, but things that are overlooked. Use the space on your resume to kind of craft the information relating to the job. Yeah. Any other questions? Alright, so before we take any more questions, I just wanted to touch on the maintaining your personal brand. This I think is the last slide anyways. So how do you manage your personal brand reputation? How do you evaluate the effectiveness of your personal brand? Oh gosh, included that twice. Sorry. And how do you create your own personal branding toolkit? So first, you want to conduct regular searches for your name or your brand online. How many persons Google their own name? How many times do you see things being said about you based on what you post on social media? And yes, those things do come back to haunt you. Your digital footprint is very real. How do you address the negative feedback or criticism for persons, for entrepreneurs with brands? We all know that negative feedback always comes to us. How do you continuously showcase your skills and expertise, be it through blog posts, articles, and speaking engagements? For job seekers, this is where your LinkedIn profile comes in. This is where you can showcase every single one of your skills, all of the expertise that you have. And how do you continuously maintain that? Evaluating the effectiveness, give yourself a KPI, define and measure the KPI, such as your website traffic if you have a website. For influencers, they use this to see how much persons hit their social media goals for their website every week, every month. They use this as selling strategies to other brands. Um, what does your social media engagement look like? What does your LinkedIn profile look like? If you're sending out resume, KPI should be how much persons contact you for a job interview, or how much of those interviews are you successful at. And then you analyze the data to kind of determine what is working and what is not, and you adjust your strategy and your tactics accordingly. And that is how you maintain your personal brand. Um, so I'll take any other questions now. You all could unmute your mics, raise your hands, put them in the chat, and I will try to get to you. I do add that I am not in HR. I'm not an HR expert. I work in communications and marketing
Hmm.
and branding, but um, I come across a lot of resumes on a daily basis. I help persons craft their resumes, their personal brand guides, and I am involved in the recruitment process for several brands, so I am able to discuss it from that point of view. Yeah, I can share these slides with you all. No problem. You can have access to the information. I also have a branding blueprint. I will attach this slide deck. Shivam, if you don't mind, when you're sending out the slides, you can attach the branding blueprint for persons. It's a great workbook to help you craft your own personal branding strategy, creating your own information about yourself and your brand, and it really does help you stand out in the long run.
Yeah, that's no problem at all. It'll be very useful for everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, persons
Any
who want to ask like more HR related questions, I will have a panel session with a few HR managers coming up. Not now, obviously. I'm just planning everything. So it might be about four different HR managers within the next 2 weeks or so. I'll post more information in the chat as I get it.
Josephine, yes, employers and TT do use social media to assess the applicant. Sometimes a person applies for the job, or sometimes after the first interview is over, because they wouldn't have time to scroll through everybody's social media just from the initial interest. So you may do an interview, then they may like you and they want to consider you for the second round of the application process. And this is where the extensive research comes in. This is where they reference for your references. This is where they go through, they Google your name, they search your digital footprint, and then they see whether you're a viable applicant for their brand or not. So yeah, social media, believe it or not, is a tool heavily utilized in the workplace when considering someone for a job. So that's why it's very important to maintain a very clean social media presence.
Yeah, Kalisha.
If someone has a lot of experience, sorry.
I just want to interject into that social media thing as well. Basically, how
Yeah.
I work, where I'm currently working, the company that I work with, was through LinkedIn. They reached out to me through LinkedIn. They looked at my social media, they looked at myself and the stuff that I was doing on LinkedIn, and then they just messaged me and be like, "Hey, would you like a job interview with us?" And then they sent a proposal and all these things. So that's basically, that's why I always tell people to join LinkedIn and start a network, because there's so much
Yeah.
opportunities you can get.
Yeah, LinkedIn is a great place to build a personal, professional brand. Definitely. Add all of your skills, all of your experience, network with other people. Naomi is asking if someone has a lack of experience. A small volunteer. It depends on what your volunteer ventures may be. If it's applicable, it's noble. Do include it. It's a part of your resume to define your gap, why you have a gap in your resume, or where you have, or if you're an entry level person looking for a job, use that to define your volunteer experience, whether it's an animal shelter or a home, what you've learned, and how it can be applied, in the workforce. So yeah, if you can translate your volunteer work into how it helps build you as a professional, definitely include that. Yeah. Tony had a question on volunteer work and on the CV. Yeah, once it's applicable, once you're able to translate what you've learned from volunteering into your resume, definitely include it. And Mahesh has never used LinkedIn. Yeah, you should definitely join. That's where a lot of the recruiters live. A lot of professionals live on LinkedIn. That's what they use to see who's speaking about trending issues, trending topics, who's discussing what's on LinkedIn and how can this person be of value to my organization? How is this person an asset to me? So definitely look into joining LinkedIn, even Instagram. A lot of persons utilize Instagram as well. Kind of check out to see what type of person you are, what you post, all those sort of things. LinkedIn as a professional, you definitely want to make sure you have a clean, clear cover photo, professional headshot, indicates all of your skills, competencies, and LinkedIn is not a dating platform. So mind the things that you post. I always have to post that on there, and it's there to network and basically network with professionals. Sure, Michael, let's hear.
Hi, just one thing real quick I wanted to mention for anyone that is in sales or anything to do with generally, but specifically for sales, posting content that is relevant to your industry is one fantastic way to help you to generate business opportunities. Reaching out to people all the time and asking them if they are interested in something. If you naturally post content that is more organic and in alignment with what they are looking for, the chances of them doing business with you versus your competition would also be increased exponentially. And then, of course, you get more job opportunities as well. So, yeah, I just
Absolutely.
wanted to post that for everyone. It might be of use. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point that Michael raised, and not only for anybody in sales, but any industry. Once you market yourself as a expert in that field, or you dominate that industry, persons will flock to you for advice, and then you may realize that, hey, I don't want to be an employee no more. I could be a consultant, and I see Shivam smiling, and I too can attest that I started off on LinkedIn looking for a job and posting how you can grow on social media, digital marketing tips, social media tips, and all that. And person started recruiting me as consultants for brand building, and that's how I got into um, my own brand, Calzone, formerly Calcom, um, for brand businesses, because I posted educational things on there that a lot of brands, a lot of companies found educational. So you never know. Join LinkedIn and definitely start engaging on there. Shivam?
Oh, yeah. I have no other questions. I just listening to everyone right now.
All right. So if we have no more questions, just I will send the slides over. You all will receive it in your email. A, a recording, I think, will also be sent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay. So I thank you all so much for your time. 1 hour as promised, and it was very insightful. I hope to collaborate with Hello Trinidad for future ventures, future branding, and social media type of content. You can follow my social media at the Cal Zone on Instagram and Facebook. My personal account is also I thought I linked it. You can connect with me on LinkedIn as well. I share a host of information relating to branding, marketing, AI. Um, I do have a course coming up on leveraging artificial intelligence to improve your social media presence because everybody has this fear that AI is here to take our jobs, but the truth of the matter is AI isn't here to take our jobs. The people who know how to use AI will take your jobs. So you all could follow me on social media to stay tuned for that session. And this was really informative, and I can't wait for the session where the HR managers come together in the panel to answer all of these really exciting and interesting questions. So, yeah, this is a great initiative again, Shivam. I hope to definitely be included in much more.
Awesome.
You can follow me at the Cal Zone. Shivam, can you just put in my Instagram link there to my page, Calzone and Felicia, because sometimes I tend to just share information on my personal profile and not my business page. I know that is, um, I should not be doing that, but
Oh,
it's just easier to just have everything in one place. So you can follow me
what I would do is
on my personal or Calzone.
when I'm sending out the mass email with the workbook and everything, I'll put in your social
Yeah.
media details as well, so everyone would have that.
Okay. Much appreciated. And yeah, this was really good. You all will all get my branding blueprint workbook for free. Um, and I can't promise that it will be attached in this email because I do have to send it to Shivam. So probably by next week, you all will be able to get that. And once you all fill it out, I want you all to email me, send me a message on social media. Let me see what you all create. Let me see the brands you all create because the journey doesn't end here. It actually just got started. So I'm excited to see the personal brands that you all build, the entrepreneurial brands that you all have. Someone had a hand up.
That was a mistake. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem at all. So yeah, thank you all so much again, and I look forward to chatting with much more of you outside of this call.
So thanks, guys. I really do appreciate it, and I hope we do more sessions like this. I hope this was informative and useful for you guys as well. Right? So, hoping to see you guys for the next session with the HR managers. I will post updates on that in the group periodically, and the sign up sheet for that will be probably by next week or so once everyone confirms. All right? So,
Oh,
thank you all again. Hmm.
I should mention, sorry. Once you all come from the Hello Trinidad group, I am doing 50 free resumes. So after the session, anybody needs any tips, any guidance, or any resume creation, feel free to shoot me a message via social media. Shivam will link my social media, and you all will definitely be getting a free resume or free brand strategy guide should be needed. So if you're a job seeker, free resume. If you're a brand, a free brand guide. Yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate that very much. And that's the type of benefits you guys get from actually joining this group and being active and actually attending the sessions. You'll be access to so many different benefits. So thanks you guys again. I think Krista now joined. Krista, you want to say anything? She's silent. I think she just got home.
I am so sorry that I couldn't be here for the first event, guys. but I'm pretty sure Shivam would give me anything. But thanks for everyone who came out tonight. And thanks to our guest speaker for being here as well. But again, I'm very sorry.
No problem. Thank you all for having me, and thank you for including me in the group and the Hello Trinidad community.
Awesome, guys. So I'll email the ones who are in attendance here tonight the social links, and then after I'll do a mass email with the other persons who may not be able to, to attend the situation tonight for various issues. I have no idea what's going on. My internet, everything just froze, so I'm not sure if you guys hear me. But then that's
Yeah,
have a
we're
good night,
here.
guys.
Good night. Bye. Take care.
Awesome.
Thanks a
Bye.
lot.
All right, y'all take care. Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. I'm staying on until everyone leaves.